On June 7, 1992, three women walked into a suburban house in Springfield, Missouri. They turned on the lights, took off their jewelry, and went to sleep. The next morning, all three were gone. Their cars were still parked outside. Their purses, money, and keys were sitting on the counter. The front door was locked, with no sign of forced entry or struggle. It was as if they vanished into thin air, right out of their own beds. Welcome back to The Grim Files. Today, we investigate the chilling mystery of the Springfield Three. Years later, a local reporter received an anonymous tip. The tipster claimed that the bodies of the three women were buried deep under the concrete foundation of a newly constructed parking garage at a nearby hospital. Ground-penetrating radar was used on the parking structure, revealing three distinct, human-sized anomalies beneath the concrete. However, hospital authorities refused to allow police to drill into the floor, citing high costs and structural damage. To this day, that concrete remains unbroken. Years later, a local reporter received an anonymous tip. The tipster claimed that the bodies of the three women were buried deep under the concrete foundation of a newly constructed parking garage at a nearby hospital. Ground-penetrating radar was used on the parking structure, revealing three distinct, human-sized anomalies beneath the concrete. However, hospital authorities refused to allow police to drill into the floor, citing high costs and structural damage. To this day, that concrete remains unbroken. As news of the disappearance spread, strange reports began pouring in. A neighbor recalled seeing a light-colored Dodge van parked in the driveway early that morning. Another witness claimed she heard a terrified female voice coming from inside a van, saying, "Get in the back and don't do anything stupid." Police investigated dozens of suspects, including local criminals, serial killers, and even a transient who was seen in the area. Yet, not a single piece of physical evidence connected anyone to the house. When police arrived, they discovered one baffling detail on the porch. The glass globe covering the outdoor porch light was smashed on the ground. However, the light bulb inside was completely intact and still working. Investigators realized someone had deliberately broken the glass, possibly to unscrew the bulb and hide in the darkness, or as a signal. But who could convince three women, including an adult mother, to quietly leave their house in their sleepwear, leaving behind their shoes, medication, and money, without making a sound? The next afternoon, friends arrived at the house, concerned when Stacy failed to show up for a planned trip. They found the house completely quiet. The front door was unlocked, but inside, everything seemed entirely normal. All three women's purses were lined up side by side on the floor, containing cash, identification, and credit cards. Cheryl's cigarettes and lighter were still on the table. The family dog, a small Yorkie, was roaming the house unharmed, but visibly anxious. There was no blood, no broken glass, no signs of a fight. It was a scene frozen in an eerie calm. 19-year-old Cheryl Levitt, her 18-year-old daughter Suzie Streeter, and Susie's friend, Stacy McCall, were celebrating high school graduation. It was a happy night. After attending several graduation parties, Suzie and Stacy decided to stay over at Susie's house, where her mother Cheryl lived alone. They arrived at the house around 2:15 a.m. They called a friend to say they made it safely, locked the front door, and prepared for bed. That was the last time anyone ever heard their voices.